Good morning, all my dear children. How are you all? And how have you been enjoying history? So, yes, we had started history, and I know all of you are enjoying history, right? The story of the story of us becoming or evolving from what? Monkey men, hunter gatherers, then to ultimately civilized human being. That is the journey of history. And I hope I am able to make this journey even more interesting with you. So, what we were talking about, what we were discussing in the previous class, we were discussing how history consists of these few questions: what, where, how, and when. And these few questions will be the basis of your history for this entire session. All right. So let us start with this chapter, and I will tell you more about this chapter as far as you have studied and even after that. Now, we know what is history. It is the study of past, and it helps us to understand the things that happened in the past. You see in this picture, there is one chimpanzee who is gradually evolving to be a civilized man himself. All right. Now, and yes, this evolution takes lots and lots of time. Okay. It takes thousands, millions of years. Right. Next, history is made up of certain questions. So we know history consists of certain questions like what happened in the past, where did it happen, like the places, how did it happen, and when did it happen. Okay, we can know about the past, about what people ate, what they were, everything we can know. So, as of now, all of the things we have discussed. Okay, where did people live thousands of years ago? So, this is one journey which you will see that many years ago, thousands of years ago, they lived along the banks of river Narmada. Then there were people who collected food from forest. There were people who hunted animals for food. Okay, then gradually what they are doing, they are thinking that, okay, now I think I don't have to uh, grow crops because they are seeing that they can cultivate. All right, so they are beginning to grow crops, and where they are growing these crops, near, for the first time they are growing these crops near these places like Suleiman and Kirthar hills. All right, so you have already done in your map, you have already located Suleiman and Kirtar hills on your map, so you know where it is. Yes, it is in the northwestern states of the subcontinent. Okay, and you also know what is the meaning of a subcontinent. It means a small continent. So when I say Indian subcontinent, it refers to India and a few countries, present countries that together make a subcontinent, like Pakistan, yes, Bangladesh, India. All this makes up a small subcontinent. All right. Now see, this is the northwestern part of India, which was very important in the ancient time. Okay, Indus, River Indus. You can locate River Indus here, right? River Indus is somewhere. River Indus is here in the northwest, as you can see. Wait, let me turn on my pen. This is our River Indus, as you can see, and the tributaries of River Indus. Tributaries mean small uh, flow of river that merges into a one big river, or one big river that breaks into small streams of different rivers. All right. So Indus was one very big river. And we also know that this is our Kirtar Hill and this is our Suleiman Hills. All right. Now, later you see here about 2500 years ago, cities developed on the bank of river Ganga. All right. So here is our river Ganga. Around this places, cities developed. We have already studied. So one of this big city or big kingdom was Magad, which is in the present day of Bihar, as you have already told me. Now, can you tell me the present name of Magad? Okay, the present name of Magad is Patna. Okay, Patna, which is the yes, which is the capital of Bihar. So you see in this all these three pictures, you will see certain changes are happening. That change is history. Okay, the study of that change, how this change is happening, why these changes are happening. So in the first picture, people are collecting and gathering food. People are hunting animals. In the second picture, people are starting to grow crops. Okay, you can see people are growing crops. In that corner in the right, there are people who are trying to cook. They are cooking something. All right, then they have made the small huts. Then in the last picture, you see there are kings. Okay, they were the kings of Magad, the earliest kings who ruled Magad, the big kingdom. Now, travelers, you have already read about travelers, those people who travel from one place to another for many reasons, or for a certain reason, all right? For some in search of livelihood, to escape from natural disasters. Some people travel to conquer a new land. Some people travel to sell their goods. So they used to be merchants. Some were religious teachers who traveled to share their teaching, like Gautam Buddha. Lastly, there were some travelers who just traveled for the sake of adventure in order to discover a new land. Now, the name of the land. Okay, so you know the name of our country. Yes, definitely all of you know the name of our country is India, which comes from the word or from river Indus. All right. So again, here is our river Indus. And you see, there is a similarity in the sounding of Indus and India. So what happened is people who lived in these areas, this is the northwestern areas, all right. So when Iranians and Greek, people from Iran and Greek came to India from these northwestern boundaries. When Iranian and Greek came from these northwestern boundaries, from here. So, in order to reach India, they had to cross this river, Indus River, right? They had to cross river Indus. So they are coming from this end. In order to enter India from northwest, they have to cross river Indus. So what they said or what they saw is there is a land to the east of river Indus. So they named that land as India. All right. Now next is Bharat. Bharat is also the name of India. Yes, you pointed it out rightly. Bharat is the Hindi name of India. In Hindi, we call India as Bharat. So again, Bharat as a name is coming from a group of people who used to call themselves Bharat. All right. They also lived in this area only, in the northwestern areas. Okay. Is this far understood? So these people, because of these people, the land to the northwest of Indus came to be known as Bharat. Okay, now see, there are two people who are conversing between themselves. One is interested to know about history, and the another is telling that first boy that if you are interested to know history, you have to read manuscripts, inscriptions, and you have to become an archaeologist. All right. So let us find out what are manuscripts. First, you see this picture, then you tell me what do you understand by manuscript. Okay. So in this picture, you see, it's very old. Okay, the picture is very old. The books are very old, tearing away from everywhere. So, manuscripts, these are manuscripts. It means handwritten documents from the past. Manu is the meaning of manu is hand, okay, in Latin language. So manuscripts were written on palm leaves, okay, palm leaves or a bark of tree known as birch that grows in Himalayas. Many old and older manuscripts were eaten away by insects. So you must have seen even the old books, even your old books, they may have been destroyed because some insects may have eaten them or it got torn in some parts. So imagine manuscripts that belong to very, 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 very older days. They must not be surviving, but there are certain manuscripts which still survive. Okay. Then subject. Subject of these manuscripts were almost everything. So religion, then the lives of king, medicine, science, epics, poems, plays, etc. When I say epics, have you ever heard of Ramayana or Mahabharata? Okay, some of you have watched Mahabharata, some of you have seen Ramayana. There is one very interesting animation, The Legend of Prince Ram. So you can watch it. Okay. So epics, those are called epics. Okay. So these were also the themes of manuscripts or the subject of manuscripts. Next is language. What was the language of these manuscripts? Many of these manuscripts were written in Sanskrit, some in Prakrit, and also in Tamil. Okay, so right now, what is the language we are using in the class? Yes, we are using English language, but in your houses, you use your mother tongue, which is either Telugu or something else. All right, like I use Bengali, which is my mother tongue. Like that, there are different kind of language and there are certain languages which were used in these manuscripts. Okay, Sanskrit is one classical language. Okay, very old language. Then Tamil is one very old language. But we also find manuscripts which were written in Prakrit language. Okay, by Prakrit language, I mean the language which ancient people used to talk to between themselves. They did not use to talk in Sanskrit, not all of them. This is Prakrit was more of a local language. Okay, now see inscriptions. So inscriptions are also writing, but the difference here is unlike manuscripts, inscriptions are writing on hard surfaces like stone or metal. Okay, so inscriptions are written on hard surfaces. Can you tell me why? Why inscriptions are written on hard surfaces? Okay, yes, manuscripts gets destroyed, but if we write anything on a hard surface, it remains for a very long time. That's why we used to write, or ancient men and women used to write inscriptions or their ideas or record everything they did on stone and metals so that they could preserve them. Okay, this is one picture of a manuscript you see in the right end, which will tell you how they used to scribe those. They used to use a nail and hammer and scribe everything. Okay, in inscriptions, men and women kept record of what they did because it lasted for a very long time. The kings also inscribed their orders on stones and metals so that people could obey. The kings also recorded their victory. Okay, so if any king won a war, he had to show off that, right? He had to show the world, he had to show his future generations that I have won this war. For that, what he would do? he would inscribe that this particular battles have been won by this king on that date. Okay, so that the coming generations can see him or see his victory. Okay, so I hope up to this has been understood by all of you very clearly. I really wish you have a very nice time, and I really hope you come up with doubts in the next class if you have any. And I always expect good students to have more doubts. Okay. So I hope you like this video. Thank you so much.